Let's now talk about the bad news. God's own country woke up to disaster and destruction this morning after heavy rains triggered not one but 3 landslides in a span of 4 hours in Kerala's Wayanad. Official figures are saying that over 116 people have died so far and about 128 people are injured. But the death toll will rise as the evening progresses because there are hundreds of others who are still feared trapped and there are many others who are missing. Search and rescue operations are currently underway with the Army, Navy, Air Force, NDRF all on the ground. My colleagues Deepak and Pinky are reporting from the ground, showing us the challenges when it comes to these rescue operations. Let's first go across to Pinky.
ये तस्वीरें आप देख सकते हैं कि कैसे लोगों को रेस्क्यू किया जा रहा है, क्योंकि पुल एक बहुत बड़ा चुनौती बन चुका है, टूट चुका है। सड़क जो है वो पूरी तरह से टूट चुकी है। जैसे ये भूस्खलन आया, चारों तरफ अब केवल और केवल ये पानी यहाँ पर आपको दिखाई देगा और ऐसे में लोगों को इस तरह से एक शोर से दूसरे शोर तक पहुँचाने की कोशिश जो है वो की जा रही है। दूसरी तरफ हेलीकॉप्टर का सहारा लिया जा रहा है ताकि जो तमाम मेडिकल टीम्स हैं वो स्पॉट पर पहुंचकर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को असिस्ट कर सके, उनका इलाज कर सके। तो ये तस्वीरें लगातार आप टाइम्स नाउ भारत के कैमरे पर देख रहे हैं। इंडियन आर्मी, इंडियन नेवी, कोस्ट गार्ड, इंडियन एयरफोर्स, तमाम डिफेंस फोर्सेस जो है वो सुबह से इस रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में लगे हुए हैं और तस्वीरें आप देख सकते हैं कि किस तरह से इस पूरे रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन को किया जा रहा है। इतना ही नहीं, आसपास के जो गांव हैं, क्योंकि जब भी लैंडस्लाइड आता है तो उसके बाद आफ्टरमाथ कहीं और लैंडस्लाइड जो है वो देखने को मिलती है और यही कारण है कि जल्द से जल्द लोगों को जो आसपास के जो गांव हैं, उन आसपास के गांव से जो है इस तरह से एवैक्यूएट किया जा रहा है, ये भी सुनिश्चित किया जा रहा है। तो तस्वीरें जैसे कि आप लगातार आपको दिखा रहे हैं, लोगों को एवैक्यूएट किया जा रहा है। वो तस्वीर आप देख सकते हैं कि लोग अपनी बारी का इंतजार करते हुए टेम्पररी पुल बनाया जा रहा है, जैसे कि हम लगातार आपको दिखा रहे हैं। वो टेम्पररी पुल मैं अपने कैमरा पर्सन थॉमसन जेकब को कहूँगी कि आपको दिखाए कि मद्रास इंजीनियरिंग ग्रुप द्वारा ये टेम्पररी पुल जो है वो बनाया जा रहा है ताकि जल्द से जल्द लोगों को जो है यहाँ से एवैक्यूएट किया जा सके, क्योंकि आसपास के गांवों पर भी जो अब एक तरह का खतरा मंडरा रहा है। जब भी लैंडस्लाइड आता है तो उसके बाद 1-2 और लैंडस्लाइड आने का खतरा हमेशा बना रहता है। और आप देख सकते हैं कि इंडियन एयरफोर्स का हेलीकॉप्टर जो है वो किस तरह से लैंडिंग की समस्या भी बहुत ज्यादा हो रही है, क्योंकि समतल हेलीपैड चाहिए होता है जब अगर हेलीकॉप्टर को जो है लैंड करना होता है। तो ऐसे में आप देख सकते हैं चारों तरफ कि किस तरह की बर्बादी की ये तस्वीरें हैं और वहाँ पर इस तरह से हेलीकॉप्टर का लैंड करना अपने आप में बहुत ही चुनौतीपूर्ण है। लेकिन बावजूद उसके इन तमाम चुनौतियों का सामना करते हुए रेस्क्यू टीम्स जो है वो लगातार लगी हुई है ताकि जल्द से जल्द लोगों को यहाँ से सुरक्षित बाहर निकाला जा सके।
Let me go straight across to my colleague Deepak Bopanna, who's on the ground as well, telling us just how challenging rescue ops are becoming. Deepak, thank you very much for joining us. It's been quite a drive for you as well to get to the spot. Just show us what is happening around you and talk us through just how challenging these search and rescue operations are proving to be, given the fact that there are over 100 people who still seem to be missing.
For the rescue teams who are operating here, there's no break really. I'm going to straight away show you what's happening. I'm at the, one of the areas where rescue teams are right now operating from Chularmala. As we speak, from the nearby village, there are about 22 bodies or mortal remains that have been brought in. People who could be rescued, they have been already. There are people, of course, who are still searching the nearby areas, but as of now, 8 mortal remains have been shifted. They've made this, of course, zip line of sorts, which is being used from one stretch to the other. You can see as we speak here, there are personnel from, the Kerala Fire Department, the NDRF, who are coordinating and working along with the army as well. There is a fire officer here with me, Mr. Rijesh. He's one of the chief officers here, sir. take us through how the rescue operations have been through the course of the day. How many people have you been able to rescue? If you could also tell us what has been the death toll, at least in the places that you have been.
I think we have evacuated more than 800 persons alive and recovered more than hundreds of dead bodies.
Okay. And how challenging has it been? The rain has been coming in through the course of the day. You've made this zip line of sorts. It's been difficult. You also made another makeshift bridge where people could walk. So take us through the other measures that have been employed by you.
Actually, before we started our rescue work with the 2 zip line, but that evacuation was very slow. We have to remove casualties as well as able-bodied persons. So it was taking time. So we constructed, with our extension ladder, we constructed a bridge over there and evacuated more than 700 persons.
How many people are still there, sir, inside? And how many people could be trapped?
No, that we have to search only tomorrow, because now they have found out 22 dead bodies over there and 8 are shifted and 14 are yet to be shifted. And some rescues are there. No persons are trapped over there.
Okay. Well, as you see, the number is huge. He's saying they've rescued 800 people. And, some people told me that the number of voters there are around 3,000. That means the number of people who could be there could be even over 4,000. And more importantly, the teams right now, you can see as we speak, a vehicle has now come in from inside, the villages there, and some of them who, of course, have homes around the tea plantations. Now, in that vehicle, there could be people, who are being brought injured, who are being brought to safety, or even mortal remains of people. And unfortunately, it looks like it is mortal remains of few more people. So the number, which stood at 116 officially just about half an hour or 45 minutes ago, could easily go up. And this is an ongoing operation. The water levels at this point in time steadily once again rising with the rains for the last 2 hours has once again steadily come in. It has just taken a break, allowing me, of course, to not hold an umbrella at this point in time, Shreya. But it has been difficult for the rescue teams, but it is a great effort and each and every time we see the rescue teams putting in, all their heart and soul into ensuring that they can save as many people. And now the people of Wayanad as well have come together. On the streets while I was coming here, there were ambulances just zipping through. And there are locals who are standing at each junction to ensure that the ambulances move hassle-free without any sort of problem. And the people who can be saved, can be done, and they can be taken to the hospitals or the relief camps at the earliest, so that one life at least can be saved, while of course we see over 100 at this point in time lost.
Deepak, essentially, as the Chief Minister said it, an entire area has got swept away. Simply an entire area. Now, 116 people officially dead so far, but the numbers will rise, and this perhaps will become one of India's worst natural calamities in a long, long time. But Deepak Bopanna, can I ask you about the weather itself? You're telling me that for the last 2 hours it hasn't rained, but the prediction of the IMD is dire. IMD is saying that this area, the area of Wayanad, will see heavy rains over the next 24 hours. That will then make rescues and search work much more difficult.
Well, not just difficult, Shreya, it is going to make it risky, because I'm going to show you the level of water that's flowing. And in the last couple of hours, while I have been here, it has been a steady drizzle, while of course on and off for about 5 to 10 minutes, there has been a little bit of a heavy shower. But like you mentioned, the IMD predicts heavier rainfall, and if it increases, it is going to become a big challenge. And as we speak here, you can see another, mortal remain that is right now being shifted. Of course, I'm not going to zoom into these pictures because, it is going to be quite disturbing for many of our viewers. But, I'm asking viewers, of course, to exercise caution, because these are live visuals, of course, that I'm bringing in for our viewers. As we speak, the teams that are relentlessly working, like I mentioned, especially this site where I'm standing in, there is a big risk if the water levels rise, if the rains increase. There could be flash floods. There could be more landslides around the area. People, of course, have been asked in, landslide-prone areas to shift to safer locations. And as we speak, I'm also going to show you, apart from the site behind me, the amount of people who are working even now. And these are teams who have been working nearly now for the last 22 hours. So it has been a relentless time for the rescue teams.
Okay.
And it is only going to continue at least for the next few days. Because like you mentioned, death toll could only increase and the number of people who are trapped still remains unclear.
Deepak, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll, of course, keep coming back to you. Col PS Nagra is on the ground as well. He's part of the Army Rescue Team. He's, in fact, the commandant of the DSC Center in Kannur, who's been dispatched to Wayanad for these search and rescue ops that you are seeing on your screens. And Deepak was showing us some pictures from there as well. Colonel Nagra, thank you very much for joining us. I understand this is a tough time for you to speak, so we'll keep it short. Could you tell us where exactly search and rescue operations have reached and what the challenges for you are right now?
Jai Hind to you, ma'am. I am Commandant DSC Center, and today morning we got a call from the Chief Secretary, the Kerala state government, and since that time we were told that there is a major landslide which has taken place in the area, that is Wayanad area. So we have moved the parties from various directions so that they could reach the people who are in need. So one party, that is with the medical team, we forwarded them, stage forwarded them from DSC Center Kannur from the northwest direction, and the another party we moved them from the southern direction, that is from the Calicut side, that is TA Territorial Army teams. So we are at the site, but what we see here is that there is a bridge which has been washed away. So we have made a temporary bridge by joining ropes and some JCBs have been put into action, and almost around 1,000 plus people have been evacuated from the area towards the safe side. And in addition, some dead bodies too have been recovered, and the operations are still on. The weather is harsh. However, the joint operation by the state disaster relief, NDRF, and the armed forces is going hands in hands. And presently, the challenge is what only I see is weather, then the terrain, and the the bridge which has been washed away. Just to tide over that, would like to inform you that
I know you're in the middle of search and rescue operations, so I don't want to keep you, but you're telling us one of the big challenges is that infrastructure has been swept away. Infrastructure like bridges. So for you to cross over, to go to the place where people are stuck, that itself is becoming a challenge. Plus, there is the weather, which is inclement. Colonel Nagra, I'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you for your time here on Mirror Now. We'll connect with you.
We're getting a bridge from Delhi, ma'am, and it will be put there into service tomorrow.
Okay, so that will make things easier. Thank you very much. I hope that bridge comes as soon as possible. Thank you, Colonel Nagra, for joining us. But as often has been the case, this too has all the hallmarks of being a man-made disaster. A landslide atlas of India released by ISRO had claimed that around 12.6% of India's landmass is vulnerable to landslides. Among them, around 66% are in the northwestern Himalayas, 18.8% are in the northeastern Himalayas, and around 14.7% are in the Western Ghat region, which is where today's landslides have happened, not one but three. Now, way back in 2011, a report by noted ecologist Madhav Gadgil had recommended that almost 75% of the Western Ghats be declared as ecologically sensitive zones, and all mining and quarrying operations in the region be either banned or severely restricted based on the level of sensitivity. This report was found to be controversial, with many states demanding and deeming it too restrictive. 3 years later, a second panel headed by rocket scientist K. Kasturi Rangan scaled down the area as sensitive to 50%. The Kasturi Rangan report's recommendations were further diluted, and 4 draft notifications have since been issued, bringing the current area marked sensitive to only about 37% of the Western Ghats. Are we surprised? Are we at all surprised that these landslides therefore happened and more than 100 people are killed? I don't think we should be, because we were forewarned. Sridhar Radhakrishnan is an environment and climate policy observer. He's joining us on the broadcast. Sridhar Radhakrishnan, we've just put the Gadgil report in front of our viewers to give them a sense and tell them that sabko pata tha that this is coming. That Wayanad The ghats are sensitive areas. Stop cutting trees here, stop mining. Yet people weren't willing to listen. Should we blame it just on the rains? Or is it human activity as well, which has led to the death of at least 116 people today?
Thanks for calling me. And I must say, in the onset, we are in a disaster, handling and management thing. So we should obviously be thinking of that more at this point of time. But let's also use this opportunity to clearly understand where we had gone wrong. And you rightly pointed it out. In 2011, when a government, some responsible minister or government thinks of doing something like this, do a Western Ghats ecology expert panel, get one of the best scientists and a panel to actually study this and come up with some formidable findings, which are not actually, which are not things that will throw out people and make them, lose their livelihoods. Everything. It was framed like that by vested interests. But what the report said was a lifeline for the state of Kerala, the lifeline for the whole of the Western Ghats region, and we trashed the report. In fact, we must also be reminded that the Kerala state government, the assembly actually discussed this and trashed it. When Kasturi Rangan report came, they diluted it, and then in Kerala, we had the Woman v. Woman, who was supposed to be the chairman of the biodiversity board, and he went in for drastic dilution. Right now, we literally don't have a conservation spot. Almost all the ecological spots or sensitive zones are also controversial areas where implementation is simply not happening. Any conservation implementation is not happening. So that's the first point. My second point is what is happening to these places. See, we understand that the rains have become very intense. The rains more rains are falling in smaller patches of time, and this is and disasters can happen. But then, what are the other things that are happening? If you look at this particular region where this has happened, which is the Mepadi region, this is one of the most intense tourism destinations in the state. This has expanded so much of tourism. We are having hundreds of tourist destinations just in these hill ranges itself, in these vulnerable spots itself. In fact, one of the biggest tourism destinations is coming up in the same spot. And the government of Kerala is also planning, you won't even imagine planning a tunnel road through the very same mountains, almost less than 2 kilometers from where this disaster happened. A tunnel road right through the Western Ghats. Can you imagine that? And we will still go and justify this and get the people to protest if they don't put the tunnel road. We are sitting on a time bomb at this point of time in the whole of the Western Ghats and specifically in these regions. Now, the third point I want to say is that, okay, we were having warnings in 2011, but what about the warnings in 2018, 19, 20, 21? We have had landslides throughout, small and big ones, nearby. The Puttumala landslide was next door in the same hill ranges. So, all these warnings were there, and unfortunately, there are two things that the government did not do. One, if we had a risk assessment which is proper, we would have found that making people continue to live in these dangerous places should have been stopped. We should have rehabilitated them. We should have moved them out and put them in safer places. We should have spent the resources for that, build them houses and given them compensations and moved them. We didn't. When a warning comes, at least when a warning comes, they should have done that. Yesterday, a science center a civil society-run science center in Wayanad, which has been studying this issue since 2018, very clearly warned the district administration. It's called the Humes Center. They had previous data and they had data of rainfalls on these regions. They warned the district administration and the state disaster management agency that this particular spot is going to have a landslide, and the government completely ignored it. If they had moved then itself, then we would have had. At least we could have avoided deaths in Mundakai and
What you're telling me is shocking, Sridhar Radhakrishnan. What you're telling me is shocking, that 24 hours before these 3 landslides hit, the government had actually been warned that this is going to come, and yet the government turned a deaf ear to this warning, because of which at least 116 people are dead as we speak.
Exactly. And this is on, I mean, I'm going on record. This warning was given by a science group called Hume Center in Wayanad. They have been studying this issue. Unfortunately, the government systems, I don't think anywhere in India have a proper, risk assessment systems, nor a landslide warning system anywhere established. And what did this group do? They only looked at the total precipitation and how the land is going to be affected with so much of water, picked up the vulnerable spots and told them not just this place, they've also warned about 4 or 5 other different places in Wayanad where this can happen in the next coming days. At least we should have stopped the deaths.
I hope. 160 deaths, the government couldn't stop, but I hope that the warning that the Hume Center has given for other areas, at least the government doesn't turn a deaf ear and evacuates that region as soon as possible. Sridhar Radhakrishnan, thank you very much. It was good speaking to you. I hope the government of Kerala, and the powers that be are listening to this broadcast right now and listening to you right now. Thank you very much for joining us. What a huge disaster this has been in the state of Kerala. 116 people, at least 160 people killed, and the death toll, according to the Chief Minister, is expected to rise.